The 2017 Chronoversary. Hello everybody, hope you're doing well and welcome back to a brand new video. This one is going to be focused on the third degree. This is your 2017 champions in action. Of course, there's lots of champions to choose from. There's lots of decent champions. I've put in the link in the description an updated 2017 kind of like a, well, not guide, but kind of like some of the top tier, top rated options to choose from. Each of them have their own unique aspect of countering, and I'm not saying that they are the best of the best, because there are some other ones that are indeed the best of the best. We'll go into some of that in a bit more detail, and of course on screen you're probably going to be seeing from time to time some footage of some of the champions that have been relatively effective. There's some ones that are not mentioned, like Gwenpool. Gwenpool's a fantastic bleeder, Incinerator, and stuff like that. Spider-Man can do a little bit of power control and also do a good amount of damage. Really powerful SP2. Keep him above his signature ability levels and he'll do more damage. Lower, he'll get better, I think it's block proficiency. Vulture, again, relatively good. Same thing with Thor. Both are very good champions to do this. Nebula, of course, a fantastic option. Mephisto, if he won. Hela, Hood, yeah, he's alright. Yeah, there's opportunities to nullify and fate seal. But Carnage, and the further we go down, we're getting into the category. So all of the champions that I think I've ranked up and a lot of other people have ranked up are very much falling into the category of they will have some usage for something along this fight, and indeed they do. Some noticeable ones is Medusa. Medusa's recent buff, as I know I said bug there, buff has an advantage to players with true accuracy. A true accuracy can be triggered whenever Medusa inflicts an armor shattered. She gains a further buff, gain a true accuracy buff for 35 seconds. That is really handy because in this particular fight there are some tricky things to note. That first tricky thing is MCOC. That second tricky thing is going to be Medusa herself. Then there is the auto block that you get from Thor Ragnarok, but I think the biggest issues are going to be, first of all, MCOC. The approach that I did from this first off was kind of wrong. I went in with Medusa and didn't think about building up, just kind of parry, hit, build up to an SP1, and then have a striker ready, or go past that and wait for a striker. As soon as you got your striker ready, it's like, okay, parry, do about, I don't know, 2 mediums, throw the striker, medium, SP1. And you should get the armor shattered on there by that means. I didn't do that right that time. However, doing a parry heavy rotation with Archangel worked a treat. And Archangel does take on and absolutely solos a lot of these fights. Then you've got Angela. Angela can gain some buffs. The more buffs she has on a 200 signature version, allows her access to an auto block counter, which is nullify and auto block ability accuracy. For each buff on Angela, her opponent suffers the following, and that's 35%. You know, the more buffs you have, the better, right? The same principle could be played against Medusa, which is on the left side. So again, like choose that if you have that option, or you use Medusa or Angela against Medusa. There's not many auto block counters, and it's something you might find from time to time as you play through the 2018, 19, 20, 21, and etc. That you might find a limit of options, which might kind of be like a bit jarring. You got to do as best you can with that one. You will need a bleed immune champion for Morningstar. You will need a bleed immune champion. Oh no, sorry, a non-bleed throwing champion for Cable, because if you throw a bleed on him, then you will be degened into obliteration, which you don't want to do you? You don't want to have. Watch out for heal block that comes with Punisher, and you will need either Mephisto or Iceman against Iceman in order to go around and work around that frost-based damage that you'll have, or cold-based damage that you might see. You might also see a bit of a pitfall with Dormammu. Dormammu has this kind of frustrating, and it is frustrating, as soon as you get a buff that's fails, or not fails, I think it's either nullified, or it cycles off, that you will be hit by degeneration. In a nutshell, you're going to be hit by degeneration. That's a frustration. There's not many, there's no buff immune champions in the 2017 set. So your approach to this could be turn off dexterity. A lot of people do that when they face off against the likes of Dormammu. Or old school, we used to do that. For those that know, you're probably going, oh, remember that. You could turn off dexterity for that particular fight, or stay in a block and try not to trigger dexterity. I ended up using Iceman, and that was fine. Should I or could I have used something different? Possibly. It's really hard to know. Like, one of the better options, because Dormammu is a dimensional being, you can use Blade. Blade is one of these champions. And Kabam used to do this thing, but they put out a champion, it'd be like, oh god, how do I counter that? And then what they do is they bring out a champion that's able to counter it. And one of those champions in that particular story was indeed Blade, which does help out against the interaction and mitigates any kind of degen damage you take versus what you gain back with a high 200 signature, because you've got vampiric immortality. But one of the key things is the champion's passive ability when against a dimensional being. Danger Sense activates and grants Blade higher attack rating. Ability accuracy is reduced. Reductions bypass immunity. Blah, blah. Yeah, so more damage and bypasses the potential damage that you might see coming in. So that could work out in your favour. So that covers that. Are there any other things as well, any pitfalls? Well, not really, no. On the right side, you might feel a bit of a frustration with Taskmaster, but most champions that are able to, you just break the cycle. Okay, I'll do, I don't know, 5-hit combo ending in a medium, then 5-hit combo ending in a light, 5-hit combo ending in something else, and then you'll find that like he's not being as annoying. I just use Iceman. Iceman's fantastic against this, and Iceman helps out further on because, well, Incinerate immune champions would be good here against Mephisto. I don't know, Vulture could be a good shout on this one, but he does have a buff, but then Iceman had a buff as well. So you might want to use that against does Vulture have a Incinerate immunity? I'm now kind of like questioning myself. He might have, he might not. Oh, he does. That was good. Sometimes I say things and I manifest them to be incorrect. Sometimes I don't. So yeah, I mean that could be a good option against Mephisto. He is part of the Yearage. I didn't really kind of like accept him as being an option, but should never rule him out. We talked about auto block counter for Thor Ragnarok, and I would welcome players to, and you'll probably see footage over the course of this particular video where he's, if he gets into his power gain stage, like it will come up top right hand corner, you have to throw a special attack, or you have to get him into a stun, I think, in order to counter that. Try and do that. Throw a special attack as soon as it pops up, and keep the champion to SP1 at the very least. Otherwise, it's going to be the world of pain, because it's going to get to an SP3, and then you're going to be, booned into oblivion for that one. You'll also need on this path a bleed immune champion for Yondu, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. There's nothing else that's of great issue. I think in future weeks of the future years, you're going to see something that's a bit more scarier, especially when it comes to a lot of these champions. SP1 rotations are easy to avoid. When it gets further down the line, it just gets a little bit more frustrating. So that's when and also, but then the opening of things like synergies, Kabam synergize better going into later years, and we've also got pre-fights. So the Odin pre-fight, the Apocalypse pre-fight. Is there any more pre-fights? Anyway, the pre-fights as the years go on get better. So opportunities, interceding with Heimdall. So things get better as we go on. We'll have to see. I'm sure some people will like it, some people won't. Anyway, that's been it for the video, and I will see you all in the next one, whatever we're going to be covering. And check out some other content which will be located on screen. Have a lovely day, and yeah, have a good one. Bye.